Okay, welcome to the Binder Bookpull list instruction video brought to you by HelloFresh. Enter code MULR at checkout for 20% off. All right, so getting into it, here is my email from myself. It will probably either come from me or Jacob regarding the Bookpull list. So when you get this email, it's important to reply all to the email, make sure everyone knows that you're alive and well, you've received the email, and that you are either down to do the Bookpull list or have something going on and you don't want to do the Bookpull list, or something else is happening. Just make sure everyone kind of knows what's up. And one thing to note too is that the Bookpull list, it's on Excel. Pretty much 99% of people, law students, that when they hear that it's on Excel, will like do anything that they possibly can to not do the Bookpull list because they don't want to go on Excel. I will say that you rarely use Excel's functions if you're doing the Bookpull list. It's more so that it's just organized on a list format that we can easily maneuver and that everyone knows how to use. Um, so I have personally like no experience modeling on Excel or doing anything with Excel, and I think the book pull list is extremely easy. It takes about 10 minutes to figure out how to do, and then it's just becomes kind of, I would say, realistically, it's just basically busy work that you can kind of turn your brain off and just listen to a podcast or watch TV in the background. I think sometimes I like doing work like that, just to give myself a break from like the typical random law school assignments. So if you're into that kind of work, this is a good task for you. So I have my email. I'm going to click on the Kelly Book Pull link. That's going to bring up this. Here's your folder. It's going to have a source folder. This will be blank. Source folder will be touched on in the book pull, or yes, in the bindering portion of the instructional video. I'll probably post that next. The Kelly book pull list. Kelly book pull list will be blank. It's just a format, so make sure that you're not just doing a random Excel document. Make sure you click on this and editing it. And then version 6 of the article. I've used the Kelly article from volume 105 because I did the book pull list for that article. So I generally know what is going to happen. Okay, so here's the book pull list. I've zoomed in relatively far so that you can all see what's going on my screen. I generally will like split screen this task so that I can just look at two things at once, because it's pretty easy to just kind of go back and forth between article and the Excel. However, I'm not doing that for this video because if I split screen, the text becomes very blurry for some reason. I'm not sure, some sort of software editing situation that's above my head. So I don't know why that happens. But yeah, just keep in mind that I generally would be splitting my screen. All right, so step 1 for the book pull list. You have your article. Go to footnote 1. Copy and paste the entire text of footnote 1 into the footnote text category on the Excel document. This is kind of a weird footnote because it had an enter, like there was like text basically justified in the footnote, which of course is necessary to have proper Blue Book format, but unfortunately it messes up the Excel sheet. So we just want to make sure that if there's a footnote text, it's just all in one cell. So I'm just going to change it quickly. Okay, then you can just delete those two overflow cells. Okay, first citation. You're just looking in the footnote. Our first citation, clearly congressional record. There you go. This is a legislative materials, this congressional record. And the reason we do the source type is to make sure that if there's like a bunch of, how's it going? If there are a bunch of books, we'll want to make sure that they are being tracked down early on in the edit. Books are tend to be the kind of the hardest things to find, that they're less accessible on the internet. Okay, so article page 2, footnote 1. And then this is kind of a unique footnote, I would say, because we have an id citation, which at this point in the edit, you probably won't know if that's like a correct blue booking thing. I'm not actually sure off the top of my head if you would id directly within the footnote itself, but that's clearly citing to this footnote. So we're going to scaffold it. So it's in footnote 1 as well. Article page 2, legislative materials. Boom. And then we'll also just copy and paste the footnote as well, just to keep the footnote text there. And the logic behind scaffolding these citations, it'll become more apparent as you do the book pull list, but a lot of these authors will cite the same source throughout the article in like super citations. So the idea is that if we have all the citations to this particular source scaffolded, it's much easier to just have this source open and be able to run through the article and check assertions on second edit when you have this article open, rather than create just a list where we would go by footnote. And like on footnote 98, all of a sudden we realize, oh, they're citing to this congressional record that we have in footnote 1. So we have to go back and find the congressional record. It's just kind of tedious, and we prefer not to do that, even though it wouldn't be that hard with the source folder. But we have kind of just decided that we'd rather make this document look the way that it looks right now. Okay, we're going on to footnote 2. Oh wait, I almost forgot. This is kind of a key part. There's a few different ways to do this, and I'm just going to show you the way that I do this. I've done, I think, 2 or 3 book pull lists, and they've all gone well. So I'm just going to show you kind of how I do this next task. So as I mentioned, we want to scaffold all of the citations to this source. And this is actually kind of a tricky source to do this, but the way I do it is I basically command F the article to make sure that there's no other citation to this source. And I do know that there is not a citation to this source because I've done the book pull list obviously already. But you would want to be very thorough in your search to make sure that this is not referenced again. And like if you miss one, you'll eventually figure it out because you'll be going on like footnote 800 and it'll be like, oh wait, they just cited this footnote that I know already exists on the book pull list. And once you kind of go through the book pull list and as in its entirety before submitting it, you'll catch that mistake. But I just tend to do a really thorough job of command Fing the article to make sure that this is not cited again in the article. So for me, I know at this point it's not cited again in the article. I'd probably be a little bit more thorough if I were actually doing this, but for the sake of the video and keeping it somewhat short, I'm going to go with what I know and the fact that it's not cited again. Okay, footnote 2, then you just go on to the next footnote, footnote text here, and then you take out the citation in the footnote, Chernow, Alexander Hamilton. This is clearly a book. I have not read it. I feel like it's one of those books that like smart people read, and I really probably would say that I read it, but no, I'm just kidding. Probably one of those that would like sit on your coffee table and you're like, oh yeah, I've read it, and then hopefully avoid actually having to talk to someone that has read it. Okay, so chair now. I have a feeling that he might have cited this again in the article, so I'm just going to command F chair now. And with books, this is kind of easy because the author's last name is always going to be it's always going to be cited in a super citation. You also have to kind of play for the fact that a lot of these professors don't actually know how like to blue book at all. So usually it'll be cited in a super citation, but I'm going to show you what I would do to search. Okay, so chair now, not coming up. And then I would also search, Alexander Hamilton. Okay, then just probably Hamilton. And then you could even do like note 2 just to make sure that there's no supras that he like incorrectly formatted that are note 2. I'm going to not go through this whole thing because I know that this is only cited in footnote 2 just from having done this already. But you'd go through the whole article and make sure that you're not missing something so that we have the scaffolding correct. Okay. Next up, we have Thomas Alexander Alenkoff. This looks like a book to me, but we're just copy and pasting, of course, the whole footnote. And then in this case, the footnote is just the citation, so we just keep that citation. Sometimes the drop-down menu, for whatever reason, I don't know if that's like a personal problem, it just doesn't work, but we're just gonna make sure we have that it's a book. It's on footnote 3, article page 2, and then we're going to do our classic Command F situation. This author has 3 names, so we're gonna do last name, Elaine Nikoff. Oh, all right, we got a hit. So footnote 30 Alenikoff is cited by this author, so we know that that is in footnote 30. Scaffolding it under here, and then footnote 30 is on page 8. Book. Footnote text. All right, we're gonna keep on trucking. Alenikoff. I feel like there's a chance he might. Oh, look, another one. At footnote 93, which is on page 20. All right. Oh, 138. Another reference to Alenikoff. Where page is 27. And then you just make sure that you go through the whole article. Looks like we got them all, but looks like there was 4 of Alenikoff. And then the best part is that once you get to like footnote 30, 93, and 138, you just don't have to do anything more because you've already noted in the book pull list that it's scaffolded under Alenikoff. And this is kind of what I was mentioning in terms of there being multiple ways to do this. You could theoretically go footnote by footnote and paste every footnote text in here and pull out every single citation that comes in. I think just for myself, that doesn't work for me just because it takes forever and you're like literally doing nothing. I kind of like to go on the hunt of the article and like command F it, and it makes me feel like I'm doing it in the most efficient manner. Um, but there's also the downside of potentially missing a scaffold, and then you realize that, oh, wait, this is actually supposed to be scaffolded above. So it's important that at the very end, before you submit your list, you're very thorough. You go through the entire list and you make sure that you haven't missed something that should be scaffolded under something else. All right, so, okay, this is actually a great article for this. So, footnote 4 is blank. So, what we do with blank footnotes, now we're on footnote 4, so footnote 4, we just go blank footnote, tab. It should turn pink. That's kind of the convention for blank footnotes, so we'll just leave it as that. Um, and then we could theoretically continue to go on and do the Business Insider one, etc., the Doug Mack article, and just keep going. But I feel like that gave you kind of a general idea of the trickiness and how to do the book pull list. It's really quite an easy task. It's just somewhat tedious. And then one other thing that's a little bit tricky, per the book pull list instructions, these column IDs will sometimes get messed up because if you, like, say you did miss a scaffolding, you'll just have to copy and paste it, paste the cells into like above a row, and sometimes the column ID won't populate correctly. So at the very end, you're going to make sure that the column IDs are in numerical order. So the way that you do that is you click on the column ID, you go at bottom right, drag her down to the very last one, and then they're all going to be 1, which is sort of panic inducing at the very start. But on the instructions, they tell you this as well. You just go bottom right, you click in this, and you go fill series, and they return to their normal order. So that is how you do the book pull list. I'm going to X out of this. I'll show you kind of what the full book pull list for this actually looked like. If you give me 1 second. Okay, this is what the book pull list ended up looking like for my article, the Kelly article that I did it for. One other thing to note is that at the end, where it says edit status, and this will become more clear once you know what bindering is and pulling sources is, which the library can help you out a ton with, and I will also help you out with a new video after this one. You need to indicate if a source has been bindered, pulled, or not pulled. These have all been bindered because we finished our binder book pull, but usually they'll be not bindered when you submit the book pull list. So yep, you can see how the scaffolding worked. Also in footnote 1, and then the churn out book, the different sources that had it. It actually looks like we may have missed footnote 94, which is a good thing to note. 94, which I think I probably would have caught if I didn't catch it on the immediate pass through. I would have seen once I went to 94 throughout the article that it was an id site to Oleinikoff. So shout out me from January. I did catch that, and it properly scaffolded the id citation under the footnote 93. So that's important. But yep, here's our blank footnote. And then as you go, this book pull list will be basically the the key to second edit and book binder book pull. So just make sure you're leaving notes for your people regarding certain things. If there's any issues with sources, if you found a source, like this one, I clearly had found where it was on the Marquette library website, and I just pointed that out for whoever was assigned the book pull of that source. I think it probably ended up being me. My would be my guess. I tended to like taking the first 200. I think I got a few less than the normal people, which is one good thing to mention too, is that if you do the book pull list, like a good chunk of the law review people will think that it's some sort of task that they really don't want to do and that's hard. And you can kind of play it off as, oh, I already did this, hard task. Can I get a few less column IDs because I've already spent some time on it? And people generally will say, yes, you can do that because you did the book pull list on Excel, because Excel is a mystery. But now, after this short video, you know that Excel is not a mystery. So I hope that there are more people that take the book pull list. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out early in your edit. The book pull list needs to be done within the first, I mean, hopefully 24 hours. I think the technical deadline is 48, but your group can't start editing the piece until you do the book pull list. So if you have any questions, please reach out and make sure that you do this properly. An improper book pull list will severely derail the production process, and we really do not want to do that because at the end of the day, as we know, we're just a team trying to get these articles across the finish line. So I'm always available to chat. Feel free to email me, and thanks for watching the video.